Hi guys! In today's video, we're going to learn how to solve word problems using inequalities. We will start with word problems from our section we learned on Monday, which was 3-2, solving inequalities using adding and subtracting. That means any problems in this part of our notes and on the first part of your homework tonight should all use adding and subtracting only. Let's get started. Don't forget to pause the video so that you can write down this example in your notes. An example of a word problem without the actual word problem is not very helpful. This question says, the hard drive on your computer has a capacity of 120 gigabytes. You have used 85 gigabytes. You want to save some home videos to your hard drive. What are the possible sizes of the home video collection you can save? So, as a reminder on our word problems, we always start by choosing a letter and defining what that letter means. What is it solving for? And so you're going to get what it means, what you're solving for, from the last sentence where the actual question is. So the question says, what are the possible sizes of the home video collection that you can save? And so that's what our variable is going to stand for. I chose the letter V because of video files. And so my variable is V, and it's talking about the size of the video files. In this problem, we have two numbers. We have the number 85 and we have the number 120. I always like to start by finding the number that represents the total amount of things, whatever the things are. And so between 85 and 120, my total is 120. And so that's what's going to go on the right side of your math problem. So I kind of like to work backwards. On the left side, we will be using the other number, which is 85, and the variable, which is v. Now we just need to figure out, am I adding or subtracting those numbers? And so what we do is we try to figure out, what's going on with those numbers. And so I used 85. I want to use some more for my video files, and then in total, I should have 120. So since I'm using both the 85 and the video files, we're going to add those together. The 85 plus the videos that I'm going to put on my computer should total up to 120. Now, we're not doing equations today, so I'm not going to put an equal sign in there. This chapter is all about inequalities. So I've got to figure out if it's a less than, a greater than, a less than or equal to, or a greater than or equal to. To figure that out, I need to understand what the number 120 is saying. The number 120 is the maximum capacity of your computer. It's the most that you can put on your computer. So you could put 120 gigabytes on your computer, but you can't go past that because then it would be full and you can't fit anything else. And so since that's the most you can have, you want to do less than that. So we're going to use a less than or equal to, because we can max out our computer's hard drive and put in that 120 gigabytes. So less than or equal to would be the correct inequality. So part of figuring out these problems is figuring out the appropriate inequality to put in. Now that I have my inequality, I can very easily solve. I'm going to minus 85 on both sides. And then don't forget that your final answer needs to be a sentence. Now the sentences on these problems need to include more than just the number that you got. So I got the number 35, but I'm not just going to say it should be 35. I need to go a little bit more in depth, and I need to also talk about the inequality that was used. So in this problem, that inequality means that it can equal the number 35, or it could be any number smaller than 35. And so our sentence should reflect that. Here's a sample sentence that I used. Your video collection can be 35 gigabytes or any size smaller than that. Now this is just one sample. This is not the only way to write that sentence, but it is one way to write the sentence. For the next problem, I'd like you to pause the video and try it on your own without me. When you think you're done, check back in and see how you did. Make sure you've already completed this problem before listening on. Here's what I wrote for this problem. So I chose the letter P for plants. You can choose any letter you want, but it has to be equal to the number of plants. My inequality was the 8 plants from Wednesday plus the 9 plants from Thursday plus the unknown plants from Friday. And since I want to sell at least 25 plants, that means I'd be happy with 25, but I also would be happy with more than 25. So that's why I used a greater than or equal to symbol. At least is one of those special ones that we've talked about. After I solved my inequality, I got P is greater than or equal to 8. Now this is all the work that I need to show, and you need to show this work on your homework too. My final answer though is going to be a sentence. Don't forget, it should not just say 8 plants, it should say 8 or more because it's a greater than or equal to symbol. And so my final sentence is, the club needs to sell 8 or more plants on Friday to meet their goal. Okay, so don't forget to include a phrase that indicates what kind of inequality you used, a greater than, a less than. And so don't just say the number 8, but include if it's more than or less than. This is the end of our adding and subtracting examples.